up the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me.
Hello, Miami. Thank you so much for watching 305 Sports Now. We are on with 305 Live, aka Canes Talk. All right, and you know what we're talking about, guys. You can see the thumbnail. Okay, it is Miami versus Ole Miss, 7:30 in Arizona, the Fiesta Bowl. All right, and on the show today is a good friend of mine, and he is an Ole Miss defensive back, so he's got a lot to say about this team. Okay, he is the host of TY Tufu. Oh my gosh, long day, guys. TY24 Sports. Tyreek Gracia. What's up, man? How's it going?
How you doing, man? Let me throw up to you and then throw up the land shark, you know. That's the first question you were asking me who I'm going for. So, you know, I'm going for both, you know, hometown and then the team that, you know, gave me an opportunity.
Yeah, man. So I know we talked about a little bit off the air before the show started. How are you feeling about that? Like bittersweet, you know, oh, this is awesome. You know, like how do you feel?
Well, I once heard Ray Lewis say, you know, be careful what you pray for. And, you know, I prayed during every Ole Miss and Miami game. You know, sometimes, you know, I take it too serious. I remember I was watching a Hurricane game when I first got to Ole Miss. And like it was the Miami and Florida State game. You know, like when they played on like Labor Day weekend, I want to say. Yeah. This is like my freshman year, and this girl's like, why is it so serious to you? It's just a game. And I'm looking at her like, you know, because I grew up on this, you know, but like, you know, if we blowing them out, fine. But once we getting close about to lose or something, a close game, whatever, I get real religious, you know. So I prayed for both of these teams to make it, and now it's like I'm just going to sit back and watch it, whatever happens. Yeah, man, I feel you, dude. And like, I love the NFL. I know you do too. But there's something about college football that really gets people, you know, on the rise, man, as far as their fandom. Because like I could watch a Dolphin game. I guess the Dolphins have been mediocre for such a long time. And to tell you the truth, like, you know, I'm like, whatever, you know, at times when I watch a game, I get upset. Don't get me wrong, but it's like, okay, you know, oh, well, they're 10-4. They still have a chance of the playoffs. But when the Canes lose, man, it's like, I don't want to talk to anybody. You know, it's a tough you know, thing to take. You know, so when I'm high, when they're winning, I'm high, but when I'm low, I'm like, oh, what happened? You know, more so than any other team. You know, I can I follow. You know, as well. Special shout out Chris Gons, man, go Canes. Well, let's go do the best, beat Ole Miss. Okay, so yeah, Chris Gons, a very good friend of the show, very loyal listener. I'm very appreciative. Thank you so much for watching. Okay, any questions you guys may have for Tyreek and stuff like that, who did play, you know, for Ole Miss, even if it's just about the campus itself or his experiences, please feel free to chime in the comments. I'm sure he'll love to answer all of them as well. Before the game, I want to get your take. This is Miami and Ohio State and Ole Miss and Georgia. Both teams were underdogs against their respective teams. I mean, I'm not surprised Miami beat Ohio State. I felt that in terms of the trenches, Miami had the advantage both in the defensive line and the offensive line. I thought we had more depth at the running back position, so if the game got physical like they did, they brought in Marty Brown in the second half and really wore down Ohio State. But I am going to be honest with you. I was surprised with Ole Miss beating Georgia. And I think even Georgia was surprised with Ole Miss beating Georgia as well. Were you surprised at any of the outcomes, or were you not shocked at what you saw from both teams those two evenings? No, like I told you before, you know, prayer works, but no, that's not a joke. But in all seriousness, I got you. If you look at it, the Ole Miss and Georgia game, I mean, they played 3 times in the last, I guess, calendar year. I want to say in the last, maybe 12 months or so or whatever. They've played 3 times, and arguably Ole Miss has led for the vast majority of all 3 of those games. We kind of had a breakdown on the road at Georgia this season in the middle of the season, but we had a 9-point lead, and we actually had a 9-point deficit going into the second half. So that was kind of what Pete Golden and the staff was kind of preaching to them. Look, if they came back from 9, why can't we do it? You know, you see what I'm saying? Because all the ingredients were there, from Chambliss to speaking about Lacey, and then when we talk about comparing, cause I love to compare, you know, as far as old school football versus what's going on now in the NFL, like you mentioned. I feel like Ole Miss is like Tom Brady and the Patriots on his second end. Not the Randy Moss era. That's like the in between, but the second end. So 2014 on, where they had a high power offense, but they had a bend but don't break defense. We don't have a bad defense, but it's bend but don't break. Versus I know we're going to get into that later. They're more like the old Tom Brady, the 04, 2001, 2003, where it's running game with Fletcher. He would be like your Corey Dillon. And then you have that defense like the Willie McGinnis would be like your Ruben Bain and everything. And then Carson Beck, he can make a throw here or there, but he manages the game. Not that he can't be a big play guy, but I don't think they want the mistakes. They rather get the last month in November Carson Beck, where he does make some big throws here or there, but they rather 200 yards, no interceptions versus you throw for 3-something, but you throw a costly pick. You see what I'm saying? So I feel like they're both like a version of the Patriots, which could be a good thing because those were dynasties. The early 2000s is like our Hurricanes, and then the Ole Miss is like the more recent Patriots before Tom Brady left,
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And what's up, George? Yeah, I'll get to your question in a minute regarding Trinidad Chambliss. I kind of gave Tyreek my take on him off air, so we'll get into that as well. Yeah, I completely understand you. Like I said, I was surprised because Miami, after especially the SMU game, when they kind of even tweaked their offense a little bit by adding more wrinkles to it and even running outside, I think they just literally took over the entire ACC and proved themselves to be the best team in the ACC. Miami's defense is incredibly physical. All right, is incredibly physical. But I will say this about Ole Miss: although Ole Miss is considered a finesse team, they did take some shots from Georgia, and they kept getting back up. So I gotta give them credit altogether as a team. Were you shocked though, in terms of Miami versus Ohio State, how dominant they were on both sides of the ball? I thought it was gonna be closer. I didn't expect a 10-point victory.
No, it was crazy. I thought it could be a blow. I know that's going to sound like I'm all over the place. I thought it could be a blowout either way, or it could be a close game. But I felt like it was more likely for a close game or a blowout in Miami's favor, which you could technically say was a blowout. What was it, 24-10 or 24-14?
14.
But it felt more like a blowout, or it felt like it could have been, or whatever. Now that's one thing I want to see Miami improve on. Hopefully not this week, but next week if they play Indiana or whatever. Don't improve this week. I hate the could have been touchdowns, but we can't complain because that Keontae Scott, that was not a could have been. In past times, you catch an interception, shoestring tackle or something like that, but he brought you back to the early 2000s Canes. He caught the ball and he took it to the end zone. The next thing I would like to see is improvement. I know Mally's more quick than fast, but we got to get a punt return or a kick return touchdown, especially with Keelan Marion. That's part of his NIL. You still have to fulfill your duties of scoring a special teams touchdown. We need that because he's All-American last year,
Yeah, no, absolutely.
At BYU.
Yeah, no, he was. To his defense, though, he's been getting a lot of touchbacks, from these kickers. So I think that's one of the main reasons why as well. But I do agree. Malachi tripped on himself in the A&M game, and I think he would have blown the game wide open if they would have scored a touchdown there, to say the least. Keontae Scott, that was just a great play. I mean, I got the woulda, coulda, shoulda in my comments as well regarding Ohio State. But you could also make the case that if Fletcher doesn't fumble in the end zone, in the red zone, Miami was on his way to score a touchdown. They were literally bullying Ohio State throughout the entire drive. They were doing everything at will, short passing, running the football between the tackles, moving the chains. So, you can make the case as well. So as far as it goes, Ohio State legit only had 3 good drives, in my opinion, throughout that whole game. Legit, maybe 3, the most 4 good drives. I thought Miami was a more steady team, more consistent team throughout that game.
So, well, I know we don't have it on our mental Rolodex the whole game, but I'm assuming you're saying the 2 good drives are the 2 touchdowns where they just threw the number 4, which is like a cheat code, throwing it to Smith. Yeah. And then they were driving when they threw that interception to Scott. So was that the 3rd good drive you were talking about?
I would say the field goal. The field goal miss. When they missed the field goal before halftime, that was a pretty good drive. That was a big play. That was a big play that just happened to Jeremiah Smith, and then came the pick 6, so that's why I don't label it as a great drive because I don't know how they would have finished. But I think that I think the field goal was one because they would have gotten points out of it if they would have made it. And then, of course, the 2 touchdown drives, of course, with Jeremiah Smith, who was basically their entire offense the entire game. I know Jackson had a couple runs here and there, but they only had 45 yards rushing to end the game altogether. The entire offense was Jeremiah Smith. And he basically, come on, let's be honest with you, he's an NFL wide receiver playing in college. Let's be totally frank.
Well, they're all NFL wide receivers because Brandon Ennis, that usually disappears, showed up a little bit moving the chains. And believe it or not, the guy, I can't think of his name. What's the guy for IMG that's going first round this year? Because he's draft eligible. Smith has another year. I can't think of the guy's name because he's like 1,000-yard receiver. Well, he's a 900-yard receiver because you kept him from 1,000.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, it's Cardinal Lake.
Yeah, Cardinal. Yeah.
Yeah, Cardinal Lake. Yeah, he got shut down that game though. Like he got shut down that game.
Speaking of NFL players, I know these guys are sophomores, true sophomores, and redshirt freshmen. I want to say, but when you look at none of them guys are draft eligible. I think except for Connor O'Connor. But he's definitely coming back. I haven't heard anything about him leaving. I think a lot of these guys, they want to stay with that DB staff. I think they really like that DB staff. They see how they brought a change. But you got Xavier Lucas, true sophomore. You got OJ Frederick, true sophomore. These guys are they snubbed Lucas for freshman All-American, but they gave OJ the nod for freshman All-American. I guess because Miami was more on TV than Wisconsin. But you got I'm going to crown them 2 freshman All-Americans from last year that now were sophomores, and they lived up to it. And then you also had O'Connor, because remember, even the guy that was at Virginia balling, that came from I forgot where he transferred in from. You remember the guy that was here during the spring and he left to go to Virginia?
Is Emmanuel Carnley? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, even he played well. So we were so good. We were so good that guys that are probably going to go to the league had to portal out because they weren't going to play as much as they wanted to. Yeah.
Yeah, but the reason why I say about Jeremiah Smith, because he's a freak, man. I remember stills of him, his true freshman year at Ohio State, and he was like a man amongst boys already, So I mean, that's just what I'm saying. Like he's a flat out, like he could be a top 5 pick now. All right, as a second year player, I just think he's that good, and he's that well developed as a player, both physically, mentally. His football IQ is off the chain. All right, as well, great hands. I mean, he could do anything you ask of him as a wide receiver at the moment. But all those guys are going to the NFL. I don't know about Ennis. Ennis might be a late round pick unless they figure out a way to use him better. But Lake is.
That's all that is. He should have went to the U. Believe it or not, the way we use players, Ennis would kill it at the U or whatever, because he has every bit of talent. If you've seen it, you followed him on Footballville with Street and stuff like that. He was Mally, and I know Mally's dad personally. I don't know about met Mally before because he was a kid. I think if I ever saw him, whatever. But Daylock trained me before because my dad and him basically was like real close or whatever in Liberty City. But and by the way, his dad, I know why Malachi Tony is what he is. A lot of people are surprised. They think it's shot. You will not be surprised. I've been to Ole Miss. I've been to 530 Matt drills. I'll tell you to this day. If you know the story about Daylight racing, Devin Hester is all true. I grew up around people in Liberty City. They told me about this when I was a kid. I went and worked out with this guy. Tell you no lie. That was the hardest workout I've ever done in my life to this day. I'm talking about mat drills. I went to mat drills to spit up water. Nothing's like working out with Malachi Tony's dad. Like I'm not taking nothing away from Malachi Tony's dad, but if that person raised you, you're going to the NFL. This is the same guy that he went to the league after being out of college football. He was like 25 years old, just being on the street and raced Devin Hester and beat him and got in the NFL, And the guy's rock solid. He's built. He's fast. He's quick or whatever. Like it's not just genetics. He has an actual structured plan. I just wanted to drop that nugget because I know that personally that Daylock has is a big reason why Malachi Tony is who he is.
Yeah, I never heard the stories, and on top of that, you can tell by the way he acts as a player when he fumbled at A&M how he took it to heart. You know, you could tell that he was raised to be pretty much a dog on the field for his team.
For real.
Yeah, like he's a beast. Like he's a blessing for this program. I'm glad that he reclassified. I'm glad he also I know he decommitted, recommitted, but I'm glad he stuck with his commitment because Miami's I think he's the heart and soul of that receiving core. I know like CJ Daniels is a veteran, and so is Keelan Marion, but I think the heart of that receiving core is Malachi Tony.
And not to change the subject, because I know it's focusing on this week's game, but other Miami news talking about decommits and recommits. I don't know if it's something that we could do about that, but how do we let the guy from New Orleans that reclassified like Mally end up going to garbage North Carolina with Belichick when we don't even know if Belichick's going to stay? I saw Dobson. He was in the Under Armour All-American game. I'm like, he's supposed to be a Cane, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't get that.
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know if it's NIL. I don't know what. I mean, I don't think Belichick's going to last that long anyways as the head coach. I think we talked about this once that I think he wants his son to take over, but if they continue the way they're continuing, they might just get rid of the entire staff. So I mean,
I mean,
really
it's only been 1 year, and I'm not gonna lie or whatever. I know a lot of people want to see drastic improvements. I saw improvements because if you saw them at the beginning of the year, how did they win those last couple of games that they won towards the end? They were improving, and that is the Belichick way. He kind of like cuts the weeds in the yards. It's not. If you ever watched Do Your Job, that old documentary they had on the 2014 Patriots, he sat there and watched when they played the Kansas City Chiefs, and he just wanted to see who was going to quit. And that's how he evaluated his team or whatever. And the people that stuck with it, that's who he rolled with. So he kind of knows how to train up dogs too. It's just, I don't know if he's committed, like you said, or is he just holding this job for his son to get a head coaching job?
Well, for the stories that I've heard, when coaches are out recruiting and trying to steal players, he's out vacationing with his girlfriend.
Oh, wow.
Those are things. Those are things I heard about.
Yeah.
So, and my personal opinion, I think it's odd that to me, the one of the GOATs of all time, his girlfriend's on the field. I mean, on the sidelines in the middle of a game, trying to talk to him, whatever the conversation might be, trying to talk to. I know you had to shoot her away a couple times. I just think that's a distraction. For him as well. So that could be an issue. So, but again, I don't know why Dobson did that. It is a very loaded DB room as well. That could be another factor. Of the reason why he did that.
Yeah, because Jabari Antoine, speaking of when Smith made those big plays, not dogging the freshman because the staff believes in him to let him play because you got other young guys. I don't know him off the top of my head, but we had a pretty good DB class or whatever, and they spoke well about him.
Awesome.
But they chose him out of all of those young guys to play. I'm trying to think of the guy from Chaminade that they could have chose him. I'll think of his name later, but it was a great DB class. Ewald. Yeah. But they chose out of everybody Jabari Antoine, which I probably would have chose too, because all around he could play safety, corner. But Jeremiah Smith wasn't doing that against OJ Frederick, But the refs were allowing him to play because in ACC play, which thankfully we're not an ACC anymore, the Hurricanes are undefeated if they get the type of refs that they got during the playoffs. Not saying that the Hurricanes don't make mistakes, but like that crap at SMU with Lightfoot, that never happens with SEC or Big 10 or Big 12 refs.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
ACC, they don't let them play. No, go ahead. I'm sorry about that.
No, I know. I was going to piggyback on what you're saying. Don't forget the 6 downs they gave Virginia Tech that led to eventually to a touchdown. I don't know if you remember that. When they did 4th down twice, I don't know if you remember that. Miami stopped them twice, and on the 3rd time, that's when they scored. On that big run by the running back Overton. You remember that one?
It's like playing NCAA what they call it college football 26 now. I'm used to old NCAA or Madden, and it's like you playing on all Madden, but it's like you got to play against the team, but you also got to play against the refs or whatever. It's like they'll cheat if they can't beat you, But in real life, you know what I mean? Like all of these flags, like sometimes I watch Miami Flow and he has the little meme like 15-yard penalty, number 63, 15-yard penalty, whatever. I think he stopped doing it because we stopped getting those holding flags. But even with the holding, it's like automatically we don't hold anymore. Now that it's not in the ACC play.
Yeah. No, yeah, like there were things that you criticize about the refs and stuff like that. This game, especially the botched on the Carson Beck, first down run where they said his tibia was down or something like that. Whatever they said in general. But I will say this though. I'd rather let them play a little bit. In general, they constantly throwing flags. I think it kills momentum in the game. The action was good, even though it was technically like a low scoring game. The action was good in that game. I mean, it lived up to the hype. I forgot who was announcing the game. Said it was gonna be a classic. I think it's a classic. Right, as well. So
I think happened with that Carson Beck play. Just a little. I think whoever the Gilbert Arenas and the Chauncey Billups, I think the mob made a phone call in.
Allegedly.
Because the Hurricanes were 10-point dogs on -9.5, and they win by 10 points. That's very slick.
Yeah, man. But let me tell you, man, I think it's a coincidence they landed there, man, because no one had them scoring 24. That's the funny part about it, throughout the game. Again, could have been worse, man. If Fletcher doesn't fumble, I think it's not as close as the score indicates. But then again, woulda, coulda, shoulda, as well. If Keontae Scott got that pick, that was a beautiful read, man. Talk about if this young man isn't drafted in the first 2 rounds, somebody needs to be fired. Because you could line up Keontae anywhere on the field. You could line him up as safety. You could line him up as a nickel. You could line him up on the boundary. You could line him up as an extra blitzer as well. He reads screen passes. Not just the bubble screens. He could also read screens in general. He's always on every single play when he's in the box, man. So I just think that whoever doesn't draft that young man in the first 2 rounds, that GM needs to be fired. I mean, he is. I just think he's that good. He forces turnovers. All right, as well. He forced one against A&M. He caught a pick six over against Ohio State, and I wouldn't be surprised if he has his fingerprints in Thursday night as well.
Yeah, no, it's guaranteed at this point or whatever. You know, it's like another Ruben Bain type of effect or whatever. And also, I don't know if you noticed, because they were kind of just doing their job, but he makes not so much Poyser, because Poyser's kind of playing it safe or whatever, just being the last line of defense. But he makes Thomas want to step up and get some TV time too. Because I've noticed whenever Scott makes a play, Thomas like, I'm gonna stick my nose in there too or whatever. It's almost like it's because I played football, so I know how guys are. You don't necessarily not do your job, but if a guy's getting a sack, a guy's getting big hits, eventually you're gonna kind of like, hey, I gotta shine too.
Yeah, but that's what you want. I mean, you want, your guys to be competitive with one another and basically play, with the same intensity. It's like, oh, if he could do that, I'm gonna do that too. And like I said, the instincts that Keionte Scott has, and Jacoby too. Like Jacoby's not too far behind either. But Keionte, like he is, like you need a plan for that young man because he's a defensive coordinator. I'm sorry, offensive coordinator is a nightmare because he could cover your guys. He could tackle your running back without assistance as well. He punches the ball out. He pick sixes you, right, as well. I mean, he's just phenomenal. Let me see. Hold on. All right, Gary. I said the same thing today. Scott is at least a first, second round. Yeah, man, he's a true baller. Like I'm looking at this young man. I'm not hearing any first round talk about this guy. I'm like, how's this guy not a first round conversation?
They got him early for second round. They got him early second round. I was looking on CBS.
Yeah, man. I mean, early second round. I mean, okay, that's fine, But man, dude, I mean, he's really raised his draft stock. Comes back from injury and is an immediate impact. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's unbelievable the way he's been playing.
These are the same people. I don't know if it's age, but these are the same people that got Moten ahead of Mesidor, which nothing.
Really?
Moten is where he's supposed to be. The problem is Mesidor is like the 6th or 7th defensive end. I guess they think it because he's older. But the thing about it is, DNs play well into their 30s unless they just don't want to cut him a paycheck. It's because he's not a speed guy. He has speed, but he also has power to it. You know what I mean? It's not like he's a small guy. So he's gonna be big forever.
Yeah, you can put Mesidor on both sides of the line. You can put him as an end. You can put him as an interior tackle as well.
Yeah, matter of fact, there's a guy, I don't know which school. I think he went to a school that with a U or whatever named Calais Campbell. You ever heard of him? Yeah. He's still playing. He's like 40 years old.
Yep.
So,
I remember Calais as a player. I was in my 20s. I think.
Yeah, man. Like
I'm 45 now. That guy's still playing.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like in draft season they just try to find a reason not to pay a guy.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh, definitely. I totally agree with you on that one. Moving on a little bit now to the game itself against Ole Miss. I mean, well, first things first, I want to talk about the Georgia game, and then we'll move on a little bit to the breakdowns and stuff like that. Ole Miss in general, in that game, like we were discussing off the air, one of the things that I think happened with Georgia is I think Georgia lost a bit of its identity. Instead of trying to slow Ole Miss down by keeping Chambliss on the sidelines, they decided to get cute and try to play with a little bit more tempo with the lead. All right. How did you see it my way that Georgia kind of blew that game in the second half, or was it just what Trinidad did?
It's not very much. Other than they had the lead, it's not very much different than the game earlier in this year. And even in that game, Ole Miss, I wouldn't say Ole Miss lost the game. Georgia made some big plays, but they just kind of had a few good drives because they lost most of the game or whatever. So sometimes, it happens like that. But the problem was Ole Miss was coming regardless, and Georgia doesn't have the running game that we're used to them having. That's why sometimes we got to ignore the emblem on the helmet or even the 5 stars, this, that, and the third, because I feel like even though they're back, what is his name? It starts with an F. The guy from Compton. I can't think of his name. The lead back for Georgia.
No, Nick
Frazier. He's kind of very inconsistent. He makes big plays, but he's very inconsistent. The most consistent guy they have is the bigger guy that they got from Illinois or whatever. But they have a very inconsistent running game, so they can't just line it up and just say that we're going to get these yards. It's kind of like how UM was earlier in the year until Mark Fletcher turned into Mark Fletcher from his freshman year with that Virginia game. Remember that game? Whatever. That's a type of running game that you can kind of like ride home with. When it's inconsistent, Georgia doesn't know if they're going to get the first down or not. So that's why they were trying to throw the ball and mix it up a little bit because they couldn't rely on it. I see why. And then the defensive tackles, if you're going to notice for Ole Miss, they may not have as much depth because I saw Eccles kind of getting tired during that last drive, laying down on the floor a few times or whatever, but they didn't pull him out the game. A good job on the refs or whatever, letting him catch his breath. But that's a lot to try to run up against. I think he's like 6'7" or 6'8" or whatever.
Okay.
So, and he's like pushing, he looked like he's pushing 400 pounds, but I just feel like Georgia's running game is inconsistent. So that's what forced them to play that way.
Okay, so I mean, you see more Georgia football than I do. I always felt that the running game was day and night from last year. Last season, Georgia was like 100th in the country running the football. I thought they had some improvement this season with the balance of Gunnar Stockton being a dual threat quarterback, and the last run towards the tail end of the season, Georgia looked like what people were calling the best team in the country. I still said it was Indiana, to be frank with you, but they're calling Georgia the best team in the country. So
they're just the most talented team. They're not the best team.
Okay, so that's okay. So that's where you're. Let me see. Ulrich, flare it up, man. Love to see the podcast.
Appreciate you, man.
Thanks, man. That's cool. That's cool. So you think that most talented, but they weren't very consistent as far as running the football goes this season. Even this season.
Yeah, just from game to game. Like, I know people love to say that numbers don't lie, but human beings lie. You can manipulate numbers. You may rush a lot against a team that just you outmatch, or maybe they're good against outside runs, but not inside runs. But when you match up against people that can, their strength is your strength, and you have to go head up against them. I'm not saying that Georgia's not capable of it, but they never really tried to commit to the run during this season because I feel like I almost called him Stetson Bennett because he reminds you of him. But Gunnar Stockton, he's great in the fourth quarter. Now, I will say Chambliss probably is the best big play quarterback in the country. But when you talk about the fourth quarter specifically, I'm glad Gunnar Stockton is out of the playoffs because that's where he gets his money off the. Did you see the Tennessee game of Georgia and Tennessee?
No, I did not see it. No,
they stole one, but that's basically Gunnar Stockton stealing games. I feel like that maybe took them away from fully committing to the run game because they feel like they can rely on him, which they kind of could because He was going tit for tat with Chambliss. He's not as much of a big play guy, but he's a clutch guy.
Okay. Yeah, I thought from my own eyes they were running the ball pretty decently, and they were using Frazier that was making Ole Miss kind of like have to adjust. And I thought they went away from that a little bit. That's just my take, as far as the game goes. Yeah. And not only that, and Gonzalez brought it up very well when he basically said that, my opinion, I thought it was a dumb call by Kirby Smart going for 4th and 3 on his side of the field. And no running back for pass protection, and Gunnar Stockton gets blown up, and pretty much I think that's what cost them game because 2 plays later, I think Ole Miss gets the go ahead touchdown. I'm trying to remember. I think that's pretty much what happened in that sequence at the game.
Yeah, and not to beat a dead horse, I think they're a team with talent but no identity.
Okay.
So they're all over the place. Sometimes they don't know who to go to. Is it Gunnar? Is it the running game? You know what I mean? Because they don't have to rely on any one thing.
Okay. I want to ask you this question. I know Kirby's won a couple national championships, so that won't be the narrative, but do you think that was, to me, my opinion, Mark Cristobal gets a lot of crap over the knee, and rightfully so, because that was a dumb thing when they lost to Georgia Tech. Do you think that was Kirby's knee incident?
Not necessarily. I don't feel like Kirby coached a bad game. I don't even feel like...
No. I'm not saying coached a bad game. Okay, because the Georgia Tech game, Miami did call a good game. Van Dyke just threw a bunch of picks. They should have won that game, but the reason they lost that game is because of one bad coaching decision, which was not taking the knee. So the defense, they could have pinned Ole Miss back. They decided to go for it on their side of the field, giving Ole Miss a short field, 4th and 3. You leave no running back to protect against a blitz in general, which, in my opinion, cost them the game because what ended up happening, Ole Miss gets the go-ahead score in that game. So do you think that was oops, you kind of messed that one up, Kirby moment?
Well, you can look at it from this standpoint. Maybe they feel like who in their right mind? Because look, don't just look at how Chambliss was playing. Look at how Gunnar Stockton has been playing in the fourth quarter all year. And look at how he was taking those shots and still making those throws. Remember how he was getting hit and they didn't call any roughing the passer or anything? Yeah. I guess because he's not a big name quarterback, they just let us rough him up because he was getting those hits were egregious sometimes. And I'm an Ole Miss Rebel. But I guess they felt like it's no way Pete Gold is gonna try me in blitz. And he tried him. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's not that you made the bad call and he made a good call. It's just he was bold enough to do it because sometimes making a stupid call is a smart call because nobody thinks you actually did. Like, it's no way you'll do it because it's like, it's not like we were locking these guys down. They were, especially Branch, he was getting open. Sometimes they were dropping the ball or whatever, but they were getting open on Ole Miss. I have to admit that. You know what I mean? But I guess Pete Golden felt like I had to apply some pressure, but Kirby Smart, you know, his staff probably felt like they're not going to try us because it hasn't been working, you know, because the pass rush wasn't working as much. It worked. I know Perkins got a sack or whatever, but every time we got a sack or got pressure, it was a lot of times where we paid. It was costly for us pressuring them, you know, so we gambled. I feel like Ole Miss just gambled, you know.
Okay.
And it worked out.
Well, interesting take. I think Kirby Smart could take that back. I think he would. My perspective, you know, but against woulda, coulda, shoulda. Okay, let's see. No. You play field position. We all know football is about momentum. Yeah, Gary disagrees. You know, but anyways, 1 second.
Yeah, but see, not to cut you off, but I feel like analytics, which I would never go off analytics. You have to have a feel for the game or whatever. But like how they criticize Miami with the whole Mario Ball thing. I don't think Mario Ball is bad. It just, like how we were speaking about the matchup of this game that's going to be on Thursday. You have to know your opponent and also know how the flow of the game is going. Is this working? You know what I mean? Like even going back to that blitz thing, maybe all of those times where we missed on the blitz and we got toe up for 20 plus yards or whatever. Maybe Pete Golden saw something and said, maybe I'll just adjust it this way. Or maybe we're almost getting there. We're getting right there. You know what I mean? And, you know, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So I just feel like, you know, everybody wants to be a Monday morning quarterback, but were they saying that during the game? You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I got you. I just thought that when that play happened, I'm like, ooh, that's if Ole Miss wins this football game, it's gonna be because, in my opinion, because of what we saw in that scenario. That's just my take. Because again, it was momentum and they scored on 2 plays. I mean, and the way Ole Miss was playing offensively, giving them a short field, that was not the best idea, my opinion. You know, as far as that goes, Georgia's defense wasn't stopping them in the fourth quarter. I get it, but I think that might have been Kirby's mentality as well. Like, oh well, if I can, it's only 3 yards. If I can get a first down, you know, I could extend the drive and I could slow down the clock a little bit more. So that might have been Kirby's mentality, you know, in doing so. And because Ole Miss literally, the pass rush wasn't getting home. And not just because, you know, they were getting blocked, it's because Trinidad Chambliss was making sure the pass rush didn't get home. That was like a 25-yard scramble, and he hit his guy like we talked about off air on the dime, and that's unbelievable. But the bottom line is, though, that's just where I think that's where Georgia officially blew the game. You know, was on that 4th and 3 call. You know, in general. Moving on a little bit. I want to go over. Let's see. I think we already talked about this, right? Yeah, you already talked about this, right? Thanks, Gary, for chiming in. Moving on. All right, I want to break down the Ole Miss Miami game. All right, in general, I think it's going to be a very good matchup. I think you have a matchup of basically, like we talked about earlier, a Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali affair. You have the team that wants to get inside, you know, wants to body blow you, and eventually when you drop your head, hit you with the uppercut or come at you with a right hook and make sure they drop you in the middle of the ring. That's Miami. Okay, then you have Ole Miss that wants to play it fast, light on their feet, and pop you until they get in that last blow and knock you out, i.e. Muhammad Ali. So that's pretty much how I see this game, and Ali versus Tyson affair. But if you want to go more further back, maybe Joe Frazier versus Ali, because Joe Frazier and Mike Tyson have similar styles in their respective prime.
Yeah.
So let's look at it. Okay, so it's going to be a battle. Not very happy. It's on ESPN. I wish they would go back to ABC so everybody could watch it, but that's here nor there. All right. I grew up in the 80s and 90s, man. I always got to see my games. But statistical matchup, Miami is the 30th ranked offense in the country, averaging 31 points per game. Ole Miss is 10th, all right, at 37. Miami's defense is 4th nationally. Ole Miss is 29th, which isn't as bad as people think. Miami's total offense is almost at 5,700 yards. Ole Miss is at almost 7,000 yards of total offense as well. Let's see. And total defense, Miami averages about 285 yards per game. Ole Miss is at 286, so they're pretty even at total defense. Their sack leaders are Ruben Bain, 10.5 sacks per game, 10.5 sacks per season, added to the playoffs, of course, and Akeem Mesidor with 10.5 as well. And then they have Prince Will. Wow. Yeah, Prince Will. I can't pronounce his name. You can help me.
Your man, you're Mellon. That's been a thing since last year with his brother, because you know his brother went there last year and went to the NFL. And now he came from Nebraska. But Emmanuel Mellon, that's pretty decent.
All right, so 8 sacks on the season. QB comparison, Carson Beck, okay, 3,300 yards receiving, 27 touchdowns, 10 picks. 4 of those were in one game. 120.5 yards in the playoffs per average. And then you have Trinidad Chambliss with 3,660, 21 touchdowns. Only 3 interceptions, 362 yards against Georgia with 2 touchdowns. Considered one of the best SEC defenses in all of college football. Running back comparison, we have Mark Fletcher with 947 yards rushing, 10 touchdowns. All right. And we have Kewan Lacey with over 1,400 yards rushing, 23 touchdowns, 98 yards, and 2 touchdowns receiving against Georgia. Okay. So it's going to be a fun one, man. It's going to be a fun one. I think Ahmad Moden and OJ Frederick will be back for the Canes this upcoming Thursday, which I think will be interesting because I think Ahmad Moden, Miami fans love him. All right, Miami fans love him. I think he's underrated nationally. I think he's a very good defensive tackle. He's really upped this game. I think coming back for another year really benefited him in the long run.
Well, the NFL draft has noticed, so maybe the media hasn't noticed, but the draft has. Yeah. He's a high. I think he's a late first, early second round pick. Which I agree with that, but I was surprised that they actually gave him that credit because he's not getting the media coverage. But you saw it towards the end of the game, the end of the year. Definitely Pittsburgh game, Virginia Tech. He was standing out, slamming guys around and stuff like that. Like, and he doesn't wear any gloves, so he old school.
Yeah, I knew Miami could beat Pitt, but I was still worried. Cold weather. I knew it was a physical team. The moment that first play when Ahmad Moden just burst through that line and sacked Matt Hensel, I said to myself, "Ooh, it's gonna be a long day for Pitt." That's the first thing I thought about. That very first play, even though Pitt took the lead early on, that very first play when they broke through that defensive line and tore apart Mason Hensel, I said it's gonna be a long day for Pitt. So I was surprised by the end of the game.
You ever seen like a kickoff where somebody hits a guy and it's nowhere near the play, and you're like, why did they hit him like that? That's why. Because both teams have it in them, whatever. They scared, they got butterflies. You just need somebody to make that first big hit. And I feel like you said, it popped off the screen. After he made that big play, I feel like all of that cold went away, all of that nervousness. Yeah. Oh, we can't finish season. I feel like they needed that early. And he came out there and made that play. And I feel like that set the tone as a former player. That set, well, as a player, once a player, always. That set the tone. Like let's get it going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I have to ask you a question. Okay, I just went over the stats, and we know who the impact players are going to be. So if you're Corey Heatherman, okay, there's been debate about whether we should go more man or zone. I personally think we should mix it up altogether.
Yeah, you got to.
Yeah, we got to mix it up. You don't want to be in man all the time, and then Chambliss runs, and you got your defensive back, to the back of the quarterback, having his back to the quarterback. So if you're Corey Heatherman, okay, and you're preparing for Trinidad Chambliss, we saw what he did to Georgia. We saw what he did throughout the season. And I know there's case where he was inconsistent, but the numbers don't lie. Okay. He was very, very, at least he protected the football. All right. Three interceptions is nothing to sneeze at. That means he made very good decisions with the football, even in periods where he was seen as kind of shaky, especially early on in the season. So if you're Corey Heatherman, what do you do to stop Trinidad Chambliss and that high powered Ole Miss offense?
If I'm Ole Miss offensive coordinator or if I'm Miami's defensive coordinator, I'm thinking the same thing. What would Lane do?
Okay.
Because if you notice these wide receivers, they're going to the NFL, but even going back, even the year before and the year before, I don't know how much Ole Miss you watch. Lane, for certain positions, he gets some high school guys or whatever. Like they got the guy Watkins or whatever. He was a 5-star out of Central Florida, went to Venice or whatever. He's playing or whatever. But if they're not going to use you, they don't go after guys or whatever. They got Caleb Odoms also. But like when you look at the guys dribbling, they get guys that are great players, but they're not getting a lot of press. So it's no one guy you can lock in on. So you really have to play honest. Sometimes you got to play man. Sometimes you got to blitz. Sometimes you got to play zone. You're going to have to take some chances, and you're going to just have to, roll the dice or whatever. Don't do anything crazy, but you just have to play your game and remember what got you there. This is not a game where you can just lock in on somebody because even if it's working, they'll go somewhere else. They got their balance. They got a running game. They got a scrambling quarterback. The only thing that, I don't know what they're talking about. They trying to people crazy in the comment section. All right. The running game, The only thing I would say, I'm not gonna say it's a weakness. We're not the strongest at running directly at you or whatever, which I wouldn't advise anyway. I know Moton, he was a little banged up at defensive tackle, but everything should be okay. You know, with Scott and the guy Blay. Yeah, Blay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, after that, I don't know how strong we are at D tackle. I know they put the guy from Central in sometimes. The guy from Broward, he was originally from Broward.
Blunt.
Yeah, Blunt or whatever. He's more of a pass rusher. That's why I was kind of upset about the whole Dante Simpson thing, because this could be his time to shine. But running directly at you is not what Ole Miss does, but going outside of you, even though Lacey will go at you, he's not scared or whatever, but he's more of an outside guy. But as far as throwing it around, going deep, going short, intermediate, they do everything. It's just being able to predict when they're going to do it. So maybe you want to get a feel for the game early as Heatherman or whatever, as it goes on. See how they're called in the plays, because there's a lot of confusion going on with coaches leaving or staying, going to LSU. I know Lane was kind of taking everybody away, and he got some bad press, so I guess he kind of fell back on that. So depending on how much the coach's heads is in the game, they're not really going to go away from what they've been doing with Lane. It's just as far as play selection, it's like NCAA. Not to be long-winded, I'm sorry, but I'm just trying to give you my real opinion. It's like if you have 10 plays, 10 great plays, you still have to call the right play at the right time. And that's the same thing on the defensive side. What are they going to do right here? Are they going to take a chance? Are they going to play it safe? Are they going deep? So you just kind of got to get a feel for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Going back to the coach situation, I know Charlie Weiss Jr. staying and Kevin Smith, which are two important coaches to have. You have your OC and you have Kevin Smith, who's the running backs coach. My only thing about that is I know the other coaches, like the wide receiver coach, they kind of help out the offensive line coach. Goodness gracious, they kind of help with rotation, of players coming in and out. So I wonder how they're going to handle that, because you're not going to put all that on Pete Golding, and they really only have a couple days to figure it out, because the game's Thursday night. I'm not saying that's going to be a factor. I think at the end of the day, it's like putting on a bicycle. They know the playbook, they know the routine, in general. But I think, as far as you think that'll affect rotation if they want to get guys in and out?
It depends on what kind of men these guys are. I've never met any of these guys personally. I heard about Kevin Smith because he's from South Florida or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I knew about him when I was actually at Ole Miss or whatever, because he knew a guy named Frank Crawford that was from Gulliver Prep or whatever. Shout out to Frank, Ole Miss Rebel from Miami also. But what was I going to say? What kind of man you are? Because I know they want to follow Lane, but if they want to be a head coach one day, they want to be an offensive coordinator one day, what sounds better on your resume? I coach for Lane Kiffin, which he may never win a national championship with his flakiness or whatever. He probably built a national championship team. But do you want to say on your resume, I work for Lane Kiffin, which he may fire you one day, or national championship coach? You see what I'm saying? Because once you won a national championship, like even with these players hopping in the portal, not to divert from what we're talking about, sometimes you got to actually think, you want to get paid, but what do people pay you for to win? So why would you walk away from the biggest winning opportunity? I'm pretty sure whatever payday you're getting as a playoff player or a playoff coach, what do you think the payday is going to be, even if you go to LSU with Lane? And let's say the administration or Lane's like, you got to come right now. And they're like, no. What are you going to do? Tell the people you fired because I went to try to get a national championship? So I feel like if I was one of those coaches, and maybe I'm naive, nobody would be able to tell me I sacrificed 12 months to get to a national championship, and I'm going to leave over some portal guys that are basically hopping in the portal and they're chasing after money, because that's what's really going on, especially with the LSU guys. I'm not saying every kid in the portal, because some guys get pushed out. I've seen that before, but with the guys LSU are going after, most likely, those are guys that are chasing after the bag. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't be leaving a national championship team for who knows what's going to happen at LSU. You may never win a national championship there.
Yeah. No, I mean, I totally agree with you. I mean, it'd be interesting. I'm not going to jinx it, but if Pete Golding was a national championship without Lane, I mean, that would be bittersweet, for Ole Miss.
Even if it's not this year, because Chambliss is coming back. Maybe it's next year. Now, sorry to cut you off.
He's not going to the draft? He made it official?
Yeah, he's trying to stay as much as he can. They got some kind of lawsuit to try to get a 6th year or 7th year with the NCAA, because he was hurt, I think, after 6 games instead of 4 games. It was something crazy, and he played half a game because of a thunderstorm. I don't know. He's trying to get a Diego Pavia.
That's a whole other story in general. Okay. So we talked about Corey Heatherman. So if you're Shannon Dawson, what kind of game do you call? For me, I would say stay balanced and keep Ole Miss off the field.
November Shannon Dawson, not October and late September. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah. Run outside and
open it up. It's like this door. You gotta open it up. You know what I mean? What did Josh Moore do so bad against South Florida when he scored 2 touchdowns that made it off limits to throw him the ball? I can even see the JoJo thing, even though JoJo is ultra talented and he's kind of stopped dropping the ball, stopped with the Butterfinger thing since the SMU game. I know he gets a hard time about SMU, and I want to say whoever we played the week after that, I want to say Syracuse. That's really made me upset. But after that, he's been catching whatever they throw to him, which is not much. But I feel like Josh Moore is a guy that could have taken advantage of Ohio State and definitely can take advantage of a little bit of Ole Miss or whatever. I feel like 3 catches is not too much to ask for the freshmen and the sophomores. You know what I mean? I'm not saying take out, because everybody keeps saying, are you going to take out CJ? Are you going to take out Marion? Marion was dropping just as much as them in the beginning, but he's definitely became reliable. But there's nothing wrong with rotation. There's nothing wrong with your starter having 4 or 5 catches and the backup having 2 catches. You know, that's Ole Miss does it. Ole Miss does it all the time. And I understand that Dawson's not Lane, but Lane's human. You know what I mean? And Lane is gone and they're still doing it. You know, it's just something that you just have to do. You have to trust your players.
Yeah, we won the game, so I'm not going to Monday morning quarterback out of it. But one of my keys to the game, and it's only because I saw Indiana do it. Indiana has big receivers, and I thought that in one-on-one coverage, the Indiana receivers won a lot of their matchups against Ohio State in the conference championship game. So I thought that a guy like Josh Moore, who's about 6'4", if he was locked up one-on-one, even if it was Caleb Downs, I thought that he would have an advantage if Beck just threw it high enough. But they didn't play him, and Marion had a big third down drop early in the game, but he vindicated himself a couple times, and I thought CJ played pretty well in the game. He got us a key first down, and of course Malachi Tony was Malachi Tony. But yeah, man, I agree. I wouldn't mind seeing a little more Josh Moore. I think he's gonna get a lot more reps next year because they've been featuring him a little bit more here and there, and he's gonna be a very much featured receiver, especially with the monster that we're gonna get with Milan Paris, who's his height and runs I think even faster than he does.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I agree with you. I think on one-on-ones, you throw that ball up to that young man, he's caught everything. So I wouldn't mind seeing that again. That'd be a nice little wrinkle, okay? If you test the Bees of Ole Miss by seeing how they handle one-on-one coverage with receivers bigger than them.
Because you have a finite time amount of time. It's just like being a teacher. You can only teach so much in a day. You know. And as far as like when you have a test coming up, you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's the same thing with coaching or whatever, especially with all these rules or whatever, because back in the day, you could do as much as you want. Now it's no 2 days and stuff. So the more you throw at a defense, the more they have to prepare for. You see what I'm saying? It's like if you give your students a test and you didn't go over long division or multiplication, you know, see what I'm saying? If it wasn't a part of the lesson plan and you put it on the test, they're gonna fail. So if I throw 1,000 different receivers at you, 1,000 different backs or whatever, even if I stick to my main back Fletcher, but I throw that Marty Brown in there, you know what I mean? You didn't prepare for that during the week, or I throw that Malachi Tony along with a Tony Johnson. I think Tony Johnson's hurt or something like that, but I'm just giving you examples. That's one thing that Ole Miss has done well. We don't recruit out of we recruiting better in the portal, but we may not ever recruit at an Ohio State level, but we get the Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia product because we maximize what we have. You know, it's like you can have a grocery full of a refrigerator full of grocery, but if you cook the same meal over and over again, the food is going to go rotten. It doesn't matter what you have if you don't use it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I totally agree with you. And I think, like I said, I think the young man will get more run next year. Absolutely. Like I said, you know, we lost a lot at receiver, and Mario's very big, you know, on experience, and you had a very young core. So the injection of a CJ Daniels, of a Tony Johnson, by the way, got beaten out by Dalen Upshaw, who's a true freshman as well. So Mario's not afraid to play young guys either, and bring in like Keelan Marion.
Upshaw, let him play.
He's hurt.
Drop one.
He's hurt.
Yeah, you're right. I saw him and Malik Bryant. That's the injury. That's the last one I saw. I don't know, but I thought Tony Johnson's hurt too. I don't know.
No, I don't know. I haven't seen anything about Tony, to be honest with you, but I get it. I mean, I totally get it. But yeah, but he's gonna get a lot of run. I think we get one more receiver in the portal. I think we get one more receiver in the portal. I personally think the Canes have a field day with Ole Miss. What y'all think? We'll see. We'll see. Okay, we'll see. Again, like I respect the quarterback. They're there. I mean, they play some good competition, you know, in general with Georgia and stuff like that. So we'll see how that goes as well. Tyreek, any predictions for the game? I know we went through both coordinators, but any predictions for the game?
A tie. But honestly, I feel like it can be close, whether it's high scoring or if it's low scoring. I'm not gonna say who's gonna win or whatever, because like I said, I'm sticking to my word. I'm rooting for both teams. I would say, you would think that if it's a low scoring game, then most likely you would think that's Miami winning. But Miami may be able, believe it or not, I can see them. It's not the national championship, but it's close enough. I can see them being like, you know what, open it up, Dawson. Let's say if they feel like they can win the game, but they've got behind a touchdown or two or whatever, I can see them maybe opening it up and making a comeback or whatever. Or on the Ole Miss side, if they just play their game and it works, I can see them winning or whatever. So I'm not going to give necessarily a winner or loser or whatever, because I wish both teams could win or whatever, which I know you can't get that. But I feel like if you see an Ole Miss win, it'll probably be a high scoring game or a high score for Ole Miss. Probably. Yeah. Or if you see a Miami win, it could probably be like a lower scoring game like what we got against Ohio State. Or it could be an instance where, Miami does not necessarily outscore Ole Miss, but Ole Miss, let's say, scores 21 or 24 points, and then Miami starts to stop them, and maybe they get a last second score in the end. So maybe you can see a Miami 30-31 where Miami has to come from behind, and maybe Carson does throw a pick, but then he just gets on fire because he's capable. It's not like he's just a game manager. That's just the way we've been doing it here. But he was throwing the ball a lot more at Georgia, so he's capable of it, and we have the weapons. It's just a matter of playing conservative. I don't believe in the whole Mario Ball thing where you should never play conservative. Like they make it like it's a bad thing. I just feel like it's a time and place for everything. Like how you were saying with the boxing thing. The same punch that'll knock this person out will get you knocked out against a person that can counterpunch it. So I just feel like, and I feel like, hat off to Mario, he has improved on game day coaching, whether it's getting out of the way or whether it's making a right call or whatever. And I feel like he did that towards the last month of the year. So it's possible. You know what I mean? That you made a step, let's make another step. Just like players get better, coaches can get better. You know what I mean? Our teachers get better. It's just a matter of how much do you want it? We're right here at the doorstep. Are you willing to put egos aside? Or even with the Ole Miss coaching staff, with the guys that may lose a job with Lane Kiffin at LSU, how much do you want to be in the college football national championship? You're right here.
Yeah, I agree. I think if it's a low-scoring game, it benefits Miami, but I also think Miami has to be careful. Has to be careful because if it's a close game, you're one mistake away from like a Georgia, like I told you about. They're one mistake away from Ole Miss taking the lead. Happened even against Notre Dame. Miami was up 21-7, and they took the foot off the gas, and Notre Dame even tied it. Miami finished it off with a field goal, and the defense just took over. The same thing happened with Florida State, where they took the foot off the pedal, and Florida State made a game out of it in the fourth quarter because Miami just decided to like pull back a little bit. So I think if you have Ole Miss on the ropes, you don't back off. You do the Tyson, you knock them out. If you go up double digits, and you can kind of like manage the game and let your defense do its thing. So that's the thing, though. But I do think this will be a close game. I think if it's low scoring, it benefits Miami. I think if it's high scoring, it benefits Ole Miss because they want to shoot out. Right? They want to get into a firefight with Miami because that's not the game. Let me see. Let's see. Pedro Roman, feels good to wake up a hurricane. Yep, it really does. Chris, Miami, us cannot get into a shootout with Ole Miss. We got to play Hurricanes football, being physical and balanced. Yeah, I totally agree. Like I told you off air and on air. You want teams to play your game. You don't want to play their game. Like you want a fighter to fight your fight. You don't want him to. You don't want to fight his fight. Like I remember my favorite. He was boring as heck to a lot of people, but he got the job done. My favorite UFC fight of all time is George St. Pierre. And the reason why I like GSP so much is because GSP could do anything in the octagon. He could wrestle. He can do jiu-jitsu. He can box, and so on. If you were a good striker, you were always going to be on the ground against GSP. Right? He was never going to let you up. If you were a good grappler, he boxed you to death in the octagon, and I think that's how teams should be, and I think that's how Miami should operate this game.
Yeah, and just get a feel for it. I'm not against Mario Ball. It's just if it's not working, then you have to accept that it's not working. All right, maybe you have to just throw it a little bit and then come back to it. Sometimes it's not that it's not working. It's just mix it up a little bit. It's like sometimes like you give the boxing analogy. You probably can hit that knockout punch, but sometimes you have to give them a feint or give them something to open it up. It doesn't mean you don't run the ball. Like I heard. I know it might sound crazy, but no, we know Uncle Luke is a big time football coach down here. But over in the West Coast, Snoop Dogg. I remember I was watching his show back in the day on Netflix, and he said, "I never heard this before. I've done it before on Madden, and I've seen coaches do it, but I never heard anybody say it." He says most people run to pass. He says I pass to run, which is very smart. If you just want to run the ball, sometimes just make them think you're going to pass.
Yeah.
You know, that because like prime example with the Mark Fletcher thing, you know why that touchdown worked? Because everybody knows us for running. And then and also give a shout out to Carson Beck for being a lot more athletic than they give him credit for. They try to act like he's Drew Bledsoe or something like that. The guy can run a little bit, man. He's still he's not quick, but he's a little fast. He's still from Florida, you know. I'll give him a 4.8, 4.9.
Yeah, he threw that shoulder in there, man, and he gave it to that DB, dude. Yeah. He gave it to him, man. He's like, you're not stopping me. You're not stopping me short.
No, that I respect it, but then I don't respect it because I feel like he only got away with that because the DB probably knew if he hit him hard, the ref was gonna throw the flag. You know, quarterbacks do that, but hey, you know when it works in your favor, you know you don't say anything.
Okay. By the way, Chris Gons, I think we're about to have our first disagreement. GSP was a great wrestler, but he was also a great striker. I forgot the name of the dude, the one that he did that show with, the UFC Tough Enough. He broke the guy's orbital bone, punching him the entire fight, and he won that fight, you know, in general. So GSP was, he was a great wrestler, but if you were known for your wrestling and stuff like that, and you're like, if he felt that you had an upper hand in wrestling, he would keep you up. He would keep you on your toes, and then of course he'd take you down. But I'll never forget that fight. Forgot the guy's name, bro, but he broke his orbital bone with just a jab the entire fight. So I kind of disagree with you, Chris. Great wrestler, yes. Again, my GOAT. Personally, he's my GOAT, you know, in general. But he could also fist fight you if he needed to. Let's see.
Plus, if you think he's gonna wrap up with you and he hits you, that probably leaves the punch wide open because you're thinking about too many things.
Yeah,
it's just like the analogy with the offense, you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I remember Dan Hardy cut him in a fight. Dan Hardy was known as a striker. He got in, he cut George St. Pierre, but guess what happened? Down on the ground, and he almost broke his arm on an arm bar. So I never seen an arm bend like that. But anyway, it's not a UFC podcast, but I can get into anything. Yeah, but
it's still the same concept. The best way to get a play to work or a punch to work is if they don't see it coming. You know.
Rick Flair, I'm a huge fan of the music. Are those guys your friends?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know people's screen names. You know, I try to rewatch it. You know, click on their stuff. I'm trying to, because I always wonder, how do people podcast and talk to the comment section? I mean, you do a great job. You're a nice guy. I think I'm pretty nice, but you ever seen those podcasts where they arguing with the comment section? Like I be so into what we're saying that I can't really. I try to interact or whatever, but I'm like you got to focus on the show, man.
Yeah,
but I appreciate all the comments, good, bad. I thank you guys for watching.
Yeah, no, me too, man. Me too. And I gotta tell you a funny story because I want to get into a little portal talk with you for the next few minutes.
I didn't want to bring it up unless you did. But let's talk about it.
Yeah. I want to get into a little portal talk because I have one thing that's bothering me about one of the portal players. But anyways, So man, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, sorry. I had a troll. Usually the people from Indiana tend to be nice, but I had a troll. I'm not gonna say his names. I don't want to give him any shout outs. Messing with me on one of my shorts, basically saying that Miami sucks and stuff like that, and you know, and he threw the SMU loss, and I had to tell the dude, I'm like, bro, you do realize that you're still considered a basketball school, right? Like you haven't won anything yet. like slow down. and Miami, we actually like Mendoza. We were happy he won the Heisman, you know, as well. So you know, and his comment was like, "It was a no-brainer." I'm like, we still like him.
See, that's what I want to talk about as far as Mendoza, because I feel like people get mad. I feel like Dylan Raiola, and isn't his uncle isn't he like some kind of way connected to the Hurricanes as a legacy? I think his uncle played for us in the past for Miami.
Dylan?
Yeah, Dylan Raiola. It's somebody from his family that played for Miami. I know that for a fact.
He has some connections all over the place. The connection that Mendoza has to Mario is that his dad played with Mario in Columbus. Yeah, I know that connection. Raiola, I've heard all over the place. I have to look back on that one in general.
I think I was bringing up, because one thing that frustrates me with fans, the same way I analyze games, and maybe because I played before and I've seen it happen before, where you look at a guy and you're like, oh, he's nothing, and then you find out he's that guy, whatever. You know what I mean? People always get so caught up in the look like Tarzan, play like Jane guys, and they don't see the real Tarzans. You saw at Cal what Mendoza can do, and then when you put him with a coach like Cignetti, now you're seeing the Heisman with it. We could have had that, but maybe we couldn't have had, because he may have not done that in this offense. But what I am saying with Raiola, 5-star guy, he hasn't been great at Nebraska, but by no means can you say that he's bad. If you just saw him in Nebraska before he got there versus what he was this year, I mean, he went from 13 to 10 in touchdowns as a freshman, because I was looking it up because I was hoping we would speak about this. As a sophomore, in 9 games, he was 18 to 6 in touchdown to interception ratio, and he threw for 2,000 yards in 9 games. So if you add the other 3 games, let's say he's up to like what, 22 or 23 touchdowns and maybe another pick or 2 or whatever, that's still under 10 picks. I think that's pretty decent, and maybe like 2,500 yards or I don't know, like 28. But I feel like as a true sophomore that didn't get to sit behind anybody, and you're getting that at a lower price, because he's not asking for a big amount, whatever, because I guess he has a lot of bad press around him or whatever. And people try to dump on him for wanting to be like Patrick Mahomes. I mean, you act like he wants to be like Tua or something. No disrespect to Tua, but if you want to be anybody, like kids used to say, what, I want to be like Mike Tyson, Jordan, or whatever. Patrick Mahomes is the Michael Jordan of today. So
he is.
You can't knock him for it. But I feel like Dylan Raiola would be the steal of the portal. You know what I mean? Because if you look at what Mendoza is today versus last year this time, a lot of people have selective memory.
Yeah. I think the steal of the portal is the North Texas quarterback. That kid is athletic and can ball. Like, I don't know if you've seen any of his games or his highlights. He's got a cannon and he's highly athletic. I think, like, for me, Dawson's offense works best with a dual threat quarterback. And I remember his days at Houston. I remember when he over in West Virginia, and with Clayton Tune. I remember West Virginia when he had Geno Smith, as well. And I remember with Cam Ward, even though Cam Ward is more of a passer, but Ward can move, as well, and he can extend plays with his legs. So I do think that this offense would work better with a dual threat quarterback. So that young man from North Texas is pretty good. I know we lost Sorsby. Sorsby decided, to go to Texas Tech. And I can respect that. He's getting good NIL money, and he has his girlfriend over there. And Sam Levitt, we don't know what's going to go on there. I mean, I've heard everything from LSU to Kentucky, as well. So, and Miami's really not trying to talk to many people because they're busy planning for a potential national championship at the moment. But that kid, I think from North Texas, if he's on the right team, he could be next year's Fernando Mendoza. And if Miami can't get, Sam Levitt, I think he's a portal player that I think Miami should look at. With this the offensive line veteran, it's going to be some growing pains. I think it's going to be basically a new line next year because you have Jackson Campbell going to be a right tackle. Coop's gone. The center's gone, as well. You might have Okunola at left guard. Markel Bell is still up for grabs. We don't know if he's going to go in the NFL or if he's going to try another year to improve his draft stock.
I think he's staying.
That's, I think, where what's leaning to, but I haven't heard him make it official. But I guess he wants to check his draft stock before he goes in. I think if he stays another year, he could be a first or second round pick. Just his size alone, in general, and honing his skills. I think that he's scary. I've seen him in person. He's a big dude. He's a nice guy, but he's a big person. He's a big dude.
If he goes now, he's still a first round talent. They're just getting him on the cheap, like how the Dolphins got Patrick Paul. I know we dump on the Dolphins, but I feel like he's the reason why Tua didn't have any concussions this year. He just was throwing like he was concussed, but at least he wasn't getting hit. You know what I mean? Yeah. No.
I think Markel Bell will be a better left tackle right off the gate than Patrick Paul. Only reason why is because the NFL, it's a bit more, they don't do air raid, and he came out of an air raid system. And I think that Markel Bell will be more prepared for the NFL than Patrick Paul was. I think Patrick Paul he did it good. Don't get me wrong. Like, Tua didn't get killed at the left side, in general. I think a lot of the sacks that Tua got were basically from the interior penetration. But the bottom line is, I think Markel Bell could be a very successful offensive lineman, but I do think if he stays, he'll up his number and up his payday as a first round pick if he stays for another year.
Yeah, I don't really see too many Miami offensive linemen leaving before Mario and Mirabal give them the go ahead, because I think they trust those guys. They trust those guys. And but speaking of interior linemen, I know I don't want to dwell on the receiver thing, but the area that Mirabal and Mario over, they rotate. They rotate a lot.
Gary, thanks for that info. I didn't know that he signed with Oklahoma State. Thanks for that info. I didn't realize that. I was talking about the North Texas kid.
Texas guy. Yeah. I was gonna say he followed his coach. That's why that's not real portal to me. That's like when they said Shedeur Sanders was a portal quarterback. You're following your dad. Like real portal guys are guys that go to a whole nother system. You know what I mean? I'll give you John Mateer because he followed his offensive coordinator. But like, if your head coach leave and you follow him, are you really a portal guy?
Yeah, not really.
You know what I mean?
He's just a regular transfer. Not really.
Yeah.
So I think, I think he shouldn't have done that. I think he should have explored other options, to be honest with you.
I think he played it safe. That's what he did.
Yeah, he completely. He completely played it safe. But again, I think that he would have benefited very much from because I knew they had asked me about him on a previous show, and I looked him up, and I was pretty impressed, from what I saw. So I was hoping we could do that. But regardless, at the end of the day, I think Miami's going to land a pretty good portal quarterback for next season. So whomever it might be, Mario's a very good talent evaluator.
One thing on the Ole Miss side, because I know it was Ole Miss and Miami back and forth. I want to know what their contingency plan is if Chambliss doesn't get this appeal with the NCAA or whatever. Are they just going to throw next season and feel like, hey, we went to the national championship or we went to the Final Four and I'm a first-year head coach or whatever? Because Austin Simmons, his dad has been on a lot of UM podcasts, but surprisingly, Miami didn't have any contact with him. He's going to Missouri. I don't know if he's going to pull his name back and decide to U-turn to Ole Miss. Because we don't know how long it's going to take for us to get an answer about the Chambliss thing. Because I feel like Austin Simmons should have stayed at Ole Miss, and carried it on. Because Lacey's coming back. He already said he's locked in. He loves Ole Miss, and I can understand why. If you ever been there, that's one of the few schools I could say if the money isn't just life changing, even if it is life changing or whatever. Because I wanted to transfer a few times, and I just thought about the campus and the student body experience. You may hate it at first, but once you get there, you don't really want to leave or whatever. That was one of the little cheesy sayings they said, but I can honestly say that, anytime I see the campus, I kind of get a little emotional. Like, dang, I miss those days. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I feel you, man. One of my buddies.
It's just a different experience.
Yeah, my colleague, Mr. Yu, big shout out to him. He's been on a few college campuses just to travel and see the universities, and he said that Ole Miss was one of the nicest, if not the nicest, he'd seen. With his own eyes. So he'd been at UM, he'd been at FIU. So he was very.
It doesn't feel like college or whatever. It's almost feel like let's say you were an immature kid or like you were kind of like sheltered. Or even if you came from a wild background, it feels like everybody has their own little niche at Ole Miss. It's like a community. I know that sounds cheesy or whatever, but I'm being honest. I actually lived through it or whatever. It's like you may not like everybody there, but you're gonna find your group or whatever, and it's like you're gonna stick to them. I have friends or family members that went to other colleges, and once they left, it's like out of sight, out of mind. But I talk to people from Ole Miss on a daily basis.
Okay. Yeah, man. No, I totally understand. I totally understand. I went to FIU, I went to UM, and I will say I enjoyed my time at both universities. The South campus where I graduated from, I originally started with the North because I started first with journalism. I didn't like it. I didn't feel like it. It had a vibe at all. But the South campus to me was a lot more fun. It felt like more of a college, and I enjoyed my time there. So I feel it. And I enjoyed my time at the U as well. It's a beautiful campus. It's very outdoors, very Coral Gables-y, right, as well. So I enjoyed my time there as well. I wanted to ask you a question about the portal, and I want to get your take on how they should do the portal as well.
Oh yeah.
No, I've been seeing some of the fans concerned, and Brock Schott, who was a 4-star tight end that we recruited last season, he's from Indiana. All right, I thought he kind of if anything, he should have tried Indiana regardless if he felt that way. But he decides to go he decides to go back to Indiana, and he's gonna go basically play for Kirk Cincinnati next season. Should Miami fans kind of be concerned that young man may give signs to the defensive side of Indiana if we were to play them in the national championship game?
Yes, and this is why the portal should be closed. Okay. Get rid of because we did it last year on the TV version. Get rid of spring football. This is what I've been saying in a lot of comment sections or whatever. Get rid of spring football. Open up, since we have one portal, open up the portal. Let's say they do their visits from March 1st to March March 30th, and they have actual portal signing days, like for the Chambliss, the guys that never got to sign out of high school or whatever. They can have a whole signing day and everything. Yeah. But instead of them having the early signing day, unless you're an early enrollee or whatever, let the kid, matter of fact, no early enrollees. Let all the freshmen and the portal guys come in May and have a mini cap or a whole spring, whatever you want to have, just along with the NFL, like how the NFL has the OTAs, and then they come back at the end of the summer for a training camp. You see what I'm saying? I think that would be a much better thing. I heard Saban say a similar thing, but I've been saying that for the last month or so. The schedules would line up, and you're a teacher or whatever, that would be beneficial for a student. Why is the kid trying to scramble to find a new school in the middle of December or whatever, when they're supposed to be enjoying the holidays with their family or whatever? In 7 days or 10 days, they're trying to rush or whatever. They're not enjoying the bowl game. They're opting out. teams are in the playoffs and you're losing coaches, you're losing signs or whatever, you're losing depth because your D tackles in the portal during the playoffs. And what if the starter goes down? You see what I'm saying? It's ruining the sport. Everybody's like, oh, the coaches get to leave when they want to. No, they don't. They have buyouts. And even for coaches, that's stupid leaving in the middle. Like this whole thing is retarded. And I just feel like the NCAA did it on purpose because they feel like they can't have all the power, they're going to show us by having no power. Because when I was in school, players wanted to get paid. We never asked for a portal. You know what I mean? And definitely not a portal where it's like ruining the season, ruining bowl games. Because just like I love Ole Miss, I wouldn't trade bowl games for the world. I actually experienced it. This is not a fan talking. It's nothing like being in those bowl games or whatever. All that stuff is like, it's almost like Christmas or like a kid that like a Disney Channel movie. I don't know how to explain it. Like if you actually experienced it, like a lot of people look at it from the money aspect, and I get what they're saying. Like players were getting exploited, but at the same time, most people that say that college football was a scam either never played it or are a fan, or they're just bitter. Like don't get me wrong. Like we didn't get what we were supposed to get, but I feel like a lot of players are going to look back now, 10 years, 15 years from now, and they may not graduate because they're transferring all over the calendar. You know what I mean? And they're not even worried about their credits or whatever. And they're not all going to the NFL. And how long is 70,000, 100,000 going to last you? You see what I'm saying? With no education. Because everybody is not getting millions of dollars. And even if you get $1 million or whatever, you're 20 years old. How long is that going to last you? You see what I'm saying? But I just feel like, you know, the portal could be fixed if they just move spring to May, or move these visits to a month instead of 10 days, moving in March. And I think that's pretty much it. I think that would be a lot better for the playoff, for the bowls, everything. And also for bowl games to get guys from opting out. Pay them for the bowl. Give them a bonus. Maybe winners get 30,000, losers get 10,000 or something.
Yeah, I just think like have a March portal like after spring, and that's it. That's your only time. You know, that's it. Just have one portal. It doesn't affect bowl games. It doesn't affect the college football season. You know, it doesn't affect playoffs. And I think the NCAA needs to adopt what the NFL does. If you have a coach that is going to be in the playoffs, all right, you do not talk to that coach until they're done. You know, and that way you prevent the whole situation with Lane.
But what are they going to do? Take away draft picks or fine them? I mean, if you fine them, they'll just pay the fine with the boosters.
Fine, man. I don't know.
No. You know what you can do? CFP. You can give them a college football playoff ban.
Yeah, that's what they'll tell you. I mean, they could do something along those lines, and sanction them or stuff like that, take away scholarships, whatever the case may be. You know, in general, like they used to do back in the day. Like if a kid, like to me, the most ridiculous thing was Chase Daniels getting suspended for 4 games because his uncle paid for his girlfriend. I mean, I thought that was the stupidest thing, you know, that ever happened. I'm like, yo, give the kid a break, but they did it, you know, in general. So I think if a coach talks to if a team, you know, talks to a coach and he
it has to be a postseason ban. That's the only thing that'll work because the money thing, the boosters will just pay that.
Not the school that he's coaching, the school that he's going to, because sometimes these kids get punished for
like LSU with the Ole Miss thing. LSU would have a 5-year postseason ban. You do that, nobody's gonna be doing it.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's something they need to do because listen, I can't stand what Lane did. I think Lane's a scumbag for what he did to those kids, you know, in general, leaving. But again, he did nothing illegal. You know, he played within the rules. You know, he left. You know, and Ole Miss basically said, you know, see ya. You know, we're gonna move on from you. You know, if that's what you want to do. But I mean, the bottom line is in the NFL, like if you're in the playoffs, we can't talk to you. You know, we can't talk to you. And I think that's something the NCAA's got to adopt. You know, the conferences need to all agree. Like, yeah, okay, so no more distractions with coaches, you know, until after our season's over. That's the way it should be. You know, that's just my take, you know, on it as well. And it'll keep the integrity of the bowl games, right, as well. The thing with the portal as well, it'll keep integrity of the bowl games as well. You know, so unless they start opting out because of the NFL, but the bottom line is, I mean, it is what it is. But I personally thought what Lane did was scummy, you know. And I remember Canes fans wanted Lane really badly at one point. He would have done the same thing. He would have done the same thing to us. You know, so you know, so I think sometimes, you know, like you said, be careful what you ask for. Sometimes, you know, it's a blessing that you didn't get what you thought you wanted. Because I thought Lane may have worked out. He kind of reminded me of like a Steve Spurrier kind of thing, but even Steve Spurrier wouldn't do some of the stuff that Lane does or whatever. He had a little character, you know. Yeah, but dude, build your legacy, man. No one's done it at Ole Miss. That's why he'll never win a championship. I don't think he'll ever win a championship. Exactly. Look at Howard Schmellenberger, bro, at the U. He took a program that was in the depths of hell, and made it into a respectable program. Everyone credits Lou Saban first before him because Schmellenberger won with his players, but Schmellenberger is the one that most people credit for building the U first, then Jimmy Johnson, and so on. Howard Schmellenberger could have gone somewhere else, gone to Notre Dame or gone somewhere else, and he didn't. He did it at Miami. And Lane could have been that dude at Ole Miss. He could have been that dude, but no, he chased a payday and he wanted to go to LSU. But I do think for Lane, all roads lead him back to Alabama. That's the whole mindset people have about Lane, that he wants to be, the one to bring Alabama back. So that's where a lot of people are thinking. I don't know if it's true or not.
Maybe he wins there, but I don't think he wins at LSU because I feel like they're gonna fire him.
Yeah, LSU has been the death knell for coaches in the last couple of years. It killed Les Miles. All right, who won a national championship. They killed Ed Ogeron, who won a national championship. Okay, they just took out Brian Kelly, Mr. Fake Southern Accent, who was competitive at one point, and now and let's see what happens with Lane. So we'll see what happens.
Florida State should try to get but they got that buyout. Florida State should try to get Brian Kelly or whatever. I mean, I don't know how long, because I know Florida State's a very cheap university. It's getting exposed or whatever. No shots, because I like all Florida schools, but we have to call it what it is. But I feel like, how long are they going to hold on to Mike Norvell because they don't want to pay a buyout? He's running the program into the ground. Yeah,
he is, and it's unfortunate, man. I actually thought that was a good hire. When they first hired him, I'm like, man, Florida State really got to see, because he was really good at Memphis, but he was too portal heavy. It's still too portal heavy.
That's what that happened. That's what happens when you make a coordinator a head coach.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that coordinators can't turn it. No, what I'm saying is some people are meant to be coordinators. They can't run the show. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because it's not even his playbook. I wouldn't even say it's his play calling. I just feel like it's like he melts under pressure. I remember an interview with him and Kirby Smart sitting next to each other after they were undefeated and Kirby Smart had lost the SEC championship before the Orange Bowl a few years back, and he just let Kirby dominate the conversation. Like, we go back and forth in this year's show, but like, how you can just see a man being emasculated? It's like, you're undefeated. This guy's just coming off a loss, and it's like he was almost like in a fetal position, like scared of Kirby or something like. And it's like, how are you going to lead young guys, especially in the state of Florida? You know what kind of kids grow up like this tough football. So that's why those kids are running all over him, because they don't respect him.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane. But again, like, Florida State's problem is they were too portal heavy. Way too portal heavy, especially the year that they went undefeated. They were way too portal heavy.
I don't know, because like you just said, they went undefeated with the portal. And look at Indiana. I didn't even realize how many portal guys are at Indiana. I feel like if you're a soft coach, you're a soft coach. If you're a tough guy, you're a tough guy. Whether it's portal, whether it's high school, you know what I mean. Go ahead.
No, but a lot of these coaches that are in the Final Four right now, they have a balance of recruiting and the portal, like for example, like I think Oregon, for example, is a good balance of recruiting and the portal. Like, I know Dante Moore, came from UCLA, but Decorian Moore, the wide receiver, that's a recruit. In general, a lot of the linemen have been recruited as well. Miami's a good balance of portal and recruits. Okay, most of the offensive line are homegrown guys, with the exception of the center. Right, but I consider Markel Bell a homegrown guy because he came from a JUCO school and he was a project. He was a developmental project, and he's been successful. But for the most part, it's a good balance. Florida State was literally built with portal guys. That team that went 16-0 the year before, they won 10 games, but they not 16-0. Sorry, it's the wrong team. The Patriots did that. They went,
the 13-0. I know 23.
Yeah, the 13-0 team. I mean, they were portal guys. The moment that all those guys left, in general, all those guys left, nothing seems to work, for Florida State.
But that's kind of over exaggerated, like how you said the Markel Bell, and I totally agree. I don't consider a multi-year portal guy a real portal guy, like Promise, like Julian saying, which knock it off. He was at Alabama for 2 weeks, and then he went to Ohio State as a true freshman. He's an Ohio State guy or whatever. But like, even like guys that stay here multiple years or whatever, that's a Miami guy. And Jordan Travis was nothing at Louisville. So you can't say that wasn't his guy. I just feel like somewhere along the line, when he was building it up, they believed in him because they didn't really have those strong personalities. Most of them were at Florida State for a reason because they sucked or whatever. But I feel like now they can't put the toothpaste back inside the tube or whatever. I feel like the cat's out of the bag that Mike Norvell is soft. We can run all over him. So I don't even feel like it's where they're getting the players from. Because even with the two guys from New Orleans, the two D tackles, Montreal and what's the other guy? The twin, the two twins, the defensive tackles. from New Orleans, they're leaving, or they're trying to bully Florida State for money or whatever, you know. And like with the Simpson thing, I guess Mario said goodbye. But it seemed like Florida State, they're going crazy trying to bring in the brothers, because basically one brother played and he's freshman All-American, but the other one was a backup. He's probably going to play next year. But the brothers were saying, you got to give me what you gave my All-American brother, or both of us are leaving, which that's good that brothers are sticking together. But as a coaching staff, you can't have, you know, true freshmen or true sophomores running all over you. You know what I mean? You recruit a guy out of high school, he pans out, but he doesn't respect you. So these are even high school guys that are panning out. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I just feel like, regardless, because if you look at ACC, which is the conference we play in, Florida State had the number 14 recruiting class and the number 2 in the ACC behind Miami. So they recruited well enough to beat the rest of the conference, you know. So
you're right.
It's just they're not doing anything with the guys they're getting. Or they do something with the guys and they don't respect it, because Usman Cromar, the running back, he did pretty well. He did. No, Cam Davis, portal. I'm trying to think. Mary Williams, portal. LaWayne McCoy staying, but I think they're paying him a lot. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I guess they can't pay everybody. I don't know, but I think it's a respect thing also, because even Earl Little, he did well at Florida State after being a bust at Alabama, and he's hitting the portal. He's not going to the NFL. He's in the portal.
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, that's a dumpster fire right now. That's a dumpster fire right now. And there's a lack of organization. There's something going on. There's a lack of organization there to get to school. I want to bring up something before I let you go, man. We had a fun chuckle before we came on the show through texting. Chase Smith, man, you were right. Chase Smith is part of the linebacker rotation. All right, he's been doing good things this year. How did it make you feel to be vindicated?
I'm not Nostradamus, you know. I mean, when one thing I can't stand, I'm trying to think of something where I was wrong. If I figure it out, I'll bring it up. But I don't like when sportscasters, they never admit when they're wrong, but they always admit when they're right. I just happen to be right on that one. I saw something in Chase Smith as far as physically he looked the part, and I may have over exaggerated, because I saw that he only had like around 30 tackles, but coming off the bench, that's a lot. It's just he pops off the screen every game when he plays. When I was looking at him the last month of the season, you saw Chase Smith. You know, there's no big drop off where Torrey has to come out.
Yeah, it is the best man's going to play under Heatherman. Heatherman has he believes in a linebacker rotation, and I remember, because I have a source at the university. I don't want to say anything. I don't want to be upset if I say his name, but
don't get that up.
Yeah, but I do have a source, and he told me before the season started that Heatherman's going to have a rotation, and it's going to be the best guys playing. There will be development. So that's why you're seeing, you know, the two guys, and Basaint's there because of experience, okay, and Torrey's there because of experience, and he's also a Heatherman guy. You know, he coached him over at Rutgers, you know, in general. But you have those two guys, and then you have the rotation, and the rotation came out to be correct of Popo, Chase Smith, all right, Chase Smith, and it was supposed to be Jalen Alderman, but Jalen Alderman has been passed over by Cam Pruitt. Cam Pruitt's been getting a lot more playing time at linebacker. Yeah. I don't know if you noticed that. You know,
I feel like I mean, they don't need to, because the safeties are great. I don't know what they're going to do at safety next year, but it seems like he's a utility guy, like the guy that used to play at Clemson. I can't think of the big tall guy, but I feel like Cam Pruitt is kind of like, if you can find it, don't force it, but he can kind of play the nickel. He can play the safety. He can play the linebacker position, or even pass rush. So you just got to kind of like use him accordingly, you know, move them around, because like how we were saying with the offenses, if the as a defensive player, if they don't know where you're going to be at, that messes up their whole blocking scheme and where they want to throw the ball or whatever, because they don't know where Cam Pruitt is going to line up at. He could be a real problem next year potentially if they let him develop into that. And Kellen Wiley, I feel like Kellen Wiley is slept on in his pass coverage.
I haven't seen much of it. Have you noticed anything about his pass coverage?
No, I saw it in high school. And I saw it a little bit when he got at UM when they was the little bit that they were showing during spring and fall camp, because they were kind of covering everything up. But Kevin Wiley is a freak athlete, I would say, or whatever. Yeah, he's not just a downhill guy.
Yeah, he's 6'6" too, man. Range.
Yeah, but it's some 6'6" guys that can't run, or they can run, but they can't cover. He actually is a football player. He just happens to have the physical stature, but he's actually a football player.
Okay, I've been letting these guys play around with the comment section, but now they're telling me to have you answer. Okay, so I guess you have an album dropping real soon. So okay.
Nah, I don't know who. You know, you got internet. So like I said, I don't really respond or whatever. You know, when I was in school and college, you know, just to have fun or whatever. You know, you messing around with music and stuff like that. But obviously, you know, I'm focused on other things right now. But no, I ignore it. Like I said, I see the stuff, but I don't see it. Like, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah. It's all in fun, bro. They're not trying to be nasty.
Yeah.
If they were nasty, I would cover it up, and stuff like that. I wouldn't even display it, in general. But they're trying to be funny. Let's see, Reek, your moves. Oh my god. Okay. All right, guys. Enough. Let's talk football. All right, Jeddo. Yeah. So I want to talk about that. Yeah. So he's part of a linebacker rotation, and Heatherman said it. The best players will play. Okay. Let's see. Did both of you call? Oh, we already went through that, man. Gary, did you take a cup of coffee? We talked about it already. We went over Heatherman and we went over Shannon Dawson already. So Gary, so basically mix it up and cover it. Mix it up, on defense, zone and man, right, as well. And Shannon Dawson be late November, December Dawson. Do not be late October, early November Dawson, right? Post SMU Dawson. That's the guy we want. Throughout the That's pretty much what we did.
And the simplest way I would say it on both sides of the ball is you could play conservative, but throw in a slight risk here or there so that that you're not showing your hand. Yeah,
like what we did with Ohio State. Occasionally went deep, on them a little bit to kind of like keep them a little bit honest and not continue to try to crowd the box, in general. Tyreek, man, it was a great conversation today. We went a little longer than I thought we would because I kept, the vibe was so good. I just had to throw in more topics, in general as well. So I'm really happy. I don't remember because we had such a long conversation. Were you able to answer the question on Brock Schott kind of giving signals to the defense?
I said, that's something to worry about. Absolutely. Okay. I mean, because it's so soon. Because I've seen that portal guys and high school guys, they got to fix all of that. I think the portal needs to move to March or whatever for integrity of the game. Because if you're on the sideline, you think. Because I'm pretty sure if they got a jersey on the sideline, they're going to get a ring from Indiana. He can't get a Miami ring and an Indiana ring. It's one or the other. So I feel like, he would probably try to do whatever he can to help Indiana. And that's his home state. I wish he would have stayed because he's a true freshman. Why are you hopping in the portal that soon?
Totally agree, man. That's a bandwagon to me a little bit, but I totally agree. And one thing I wanted to mention about that is because the reason why I thought about it is because we had recruits on the sidelines, when we played Ohio State. So I don't know what the rules are, but I wouldn't be surprised at why wouldn't they have portal players, But
no, I've seen that before. I don't know about now, but last year when they used to have the December portal, I've seen portal guys on the sideline when they just got out of school. I've seen that before.
That's what I'm saying. So that I don't want to get ahead of myself, but if we were to play Indiana in the national championship game, that's something I'd be worried about. Him basically telling the defense.
Currently, there's no rules. There's more rules on college football 26 than there is in college football in real life.
Okay. Okay.
like the only reason why I say that is because on the game there's only one portal, but in real life they just got one portal.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true. All right, sir. Yeah, thank you so much, Gary. Thank you so much for your participation, man. We had a great time having this conversation. He did a great job and keeping it about the show, not about Tyreek's rap career. I don't know what that means, but
keep the comments coming as long as they watching, man.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Mr. TY24 Sports, where can we find you, sir?
At TY24 Sports. Sorry for the me missing a whole year. I didn't even realize it. Well, it wasn't a year, but I haven't been on since basketball season, so I'm gonna try to hop on again tomorrow and try to be more consistent. I was working on everything, with the kids or whatever, but I'm definitely gonna try to get on and give my opinions. And you guys get in the comment section. Let me know if you agree or disagree. I'm here for all of it,
Yeah.
And thank you, Will.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for having for coming on as well. It was a pleasure meeting you at work. So that's actually how we connected. I met you. You're subbing next to me as well. Good luck to you as well. And I know you're in school as well, so I'm very happy. I'm very happy at that as well for you. And continue doing your show, man. You do good work. You bring a lot to the table. You bring a lot to the podcasting world. And I'm gonna try to have you on more often, all right, as well. So we can chop it about the Canes, am I right? And it's not just about Canes, man. If you want to talk Dolphins, we could do that as well. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I want to see. Well, we'll talk about that in the future, or whatever. But I got a lot of questions and opinions on the Dolphins.
And we all do. We all do. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to 305 Sports. Now, once again, I am Will for TY24 Sports. Tyreek, gracias. Have a great evening. God bless. Go Canes. Beat Ole Miss. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.
All right.